Christian Watson, who was wide receiver 35 last year, 41 receptions, 65 targets, 611 yards, 7 touchdowns, an average of 4.6 targets per game. Thoughts on Christian Watson?
It felt like the first pass, I think it was the first play of the season. The Packers were playing the Vikings, and Rodgers took a shot to Watson, and it was a long pass, and it fell through his hands. I think he got a little excited that he was about to score on his very first snap in the NFL or whatever it was, his very first reception, and then it just kind of like it felt like Aaron Rodgers was a lover scorned at that point, right? Like, that ball falls through his hands. That the Packers don't get points out of that, and it took a while for Watson to see the field or to really get in the groove and get it back in the good graces of Aaron Rodgers. He was plagued a little bit by injury, but did have some really, really good weeks. I was super high on this guy last year, right? Super high. There was nobody. There might not have been a bigger, person in the fantasy realm that was higher on Christian Watson than I was. And then it just turned out that he just didn't get the work like I thought he was going to get. But he is a boom candidate, best ball for sure. I don't know that I like him to reach for him like I did last year. I did. But with where he's going, wide receiver 25, 62. That's what, fifth round-ish. Feels maybe a little rich, but I could take him there.
Yeah, no, he's too rich for my blood at wide receiver 24, 25 type of range. I got guys like Jerry Jeudy, Calvin Ridley going directly after him. I'd rather take the shot on either one of those guys over the Christian Watson with that kind of draft capital, right? There's a lot of other guys kind of in that same deal.
Yeah.
Rachaad White, I'd rather take the shot there. This is one of those that the talent is really good, and I think he'll do some great things. And for a best ball candidate, you're right. Like, this is a guy that can be a one-touch guy that can take one to the house. So very intriguing for a best ball candidate. For season long, I don't know that I want to necessarily get into that to the point where I'm going to have to spend fifth round capital on it. Just from the standpoint too that you're right. Like, he got to wide receiver 35 overall on the season. For 4 weeks, he was fantastic, and I lived the 4 weeks on my fantasy roster in the home league, right? Like, where he was wide receiver 1, 4, 6, 4, like, just spectacular finishes. But if he didn't catch a touchdown last year, you were hosed on those weeks, because outside of him catching touchdowns and breaking a long one out, it was very, very rough on a fantasy production there. And I don't know that that's necessarily going to change much here. The touchdown rate was astronomically good last year, and this is one of those that we've almost got to anticipate some regression to the mean at that one. So I really think that we're going to see him ultimately get to the point where receptions will come up. I think his yards will come up, but I don't know that he's going to be able to continue that touchdown rate. So he may get to a point where he gets 6-7 touchdowns. He may get about 800 yards and 70 receptions. Like, I could see that playing out there, but I just don't know that we're going to see him go. And at this point, I feel like you're almost drafting him at the tippy top of his ceiling.